Hello viewers. Welcome back to Recap Daily. A policeman appears at the beginning of the film, who was running after a few robbers. Policeman name was Igor, who used to lead a life according to his rules. He used to think that criminals will escape if he will follow the rules. So he used to resolve all cases according to his own way. Now he was chasing the robber's vehicle while running. At last, he captures those criminals. The havoc begins in the whole city during this. The scene moves to the police station where a new policeman is seen, who had recently joined the police station, and he used to sketch perfectly. When a police officer was making that new policeman to visit the whole police station, Colonel arrives there and he calls Igor to his office in angry mood. All police officers in the police station were betting this when Igor goes to Colonel office, that Colonel will terminate Igor now. Colonel asks him to write the resignation letter while scolding. He keeps his resignation letter in his possession except accepting it. Colonel has awareness that Igor's rules are wrong, but the crime rate had reduced in the city because of his presence. Igor hands over the bet money to an old man when he notices this. That old man was a poor man. Igor was a good-hearted person. He wanted to help all. Igor gets a case of a boy who was aristocratic, and it had been said about him that he has killed one girl after hitting with his car. Igor seizes him without any proof and presents him in the court. That dead girl's brother also gives his statement in the court. That boy was wealthiest, so he remains safe because of his aristocracy. The court had released that boy, and the brother of that dead girl was getting aggressive. He goes to kill him, but Igor stops him, and he advises him, "Look, don't take the wrong step until I investigate this case." Orphanage teacher comes to Igor when that dead girl's brother had gone, who was very stressed due to that boy as he may not take a wrong step. Igor gives her his contact number so she may contact him when need arises. Later, IT billionaire named Sergey comes on the scene, who was the founder of that social network. Sergey and his friend had brought up in that orphanage, where the brother of that dead girl lives. When Sergey hears the news of that girl, he feels so grief because he was making all his struggles for the kids of this orphanage and for poor Strata, so that he may help all of them. And Sergey was saying to his friend that until such aristocratic strata is present in this world, he cannot take any step. His friend encourages him on this, and he says, "I am always with you as I had, and you will resolve this matter as before. So my friend, you need not to be worried." On the other side, Igor visits Colonel's house. He receives a call there which was by that orphanage teacher, who was telling about that dead girl's brother who had disappeared from orphanage. That orphanage teacher had this threat that boy may not take any wrong action. Then the scene moves to that aristocratic boy who had killed girl, hitting her with his car. A masked man with superhero costume was hitting that boy bitterly there. That man explodes that boy's car when he gets into his car to save himself. Igor had also reached there after receiving the call of orphanage teacher. He witnesses everything, but he could not stop that masked man. And that masked man escapes from there while dodging Igor there. Now all suspect that dead girl's brother, and police officers seize that girl's brother. When Igor was leaving to investigate this case, then that inspector who knows the good sketching, he presents Igor that masked man's sketch. Igor was sued that girl's brother has not killed aristocratic boy. He says to him, "If you know anything about that killer, then tell me clearly." Now, Igor is involved in interrogation of that killer. He makes a great research, but it is incredible that he had got any proof about that killer. At last, he is disturbed and moves to his house, holding that case's file. He observes on the way that some boys were teasing a girl. He beats those two boys bitterly and takes that girl into his house, safeguarding her. That girl says after going to Igor's house, "I want take a cup of tea." She takes many photos, opening the file of masked man when Igor goes to take tea. And she leaves that place. It is exposed as that girl leaves, those two boys were the part of her game. Who was this girl now? It is revealed in the movie further. It is exposed to Sergey, that masked man is not anyone else but his friend, who was encouraging her right now, saying, "Don't worry, I am with you." That masked man had made this mask and suit, taking the benefit of Sergey and his money. Sergey's friend had this thought that he wants to eliminate all wealthiest people in the world who works illegally in incorrupted way. He does not want them to ruin the lives of the poor people. They get rid from the punishment, using their money. Sergey's friend was telling him that he wants to take revenge from all those people. Sergey was saying to his friend, "You are committing wrong. No one can get justice as such. Why do you not understand me?" But his friend was not ready to agree on anything. He was using opposite statement, "The game has started now. Wait and watch what happens next." Now, Sergey's friend sends his video to the people's mobile phone, using his app. He was telling all people that he is a plague doctor and he will ensure justice for all people. And he began this after killing that wealthiest boy. Later, that masked man plague doctor is shown in the house of a lady. This lady was a banker who had taken the money of the people by fraud. She had not returned their money. This plague doctor sets an explosive in the neck of that lady. And he explodes her whole apartment with her. This plague doctor becomes too renowned later. And the poor strata had started to think him as their savior. This case was becoming so complicated and Igor was understanding nothing. Now this case is taken back from Igor, and he is replaced with a new officer. Colonel does also not take a single step in this matter. But he was Igor, he himself starts investigation, taking the help of one inspector. He visits black market where the people were ready to tell or do anything after taking money. Igor gets a list from one of his spies. The list of those people who may have knowledge about the plague doctor. Igor visits each man according to list names. He beats and tortures them, but he does not get a single information about that plague doctor. List names are ended. Igor asks his accompanied inspector to move back to police station. He himself moves to Sergey. He meets him, going there. Sergey tells him that he has deleted that video from his app. But many people had copied that video. Igor asks help from Sergey, and says to him, "Track that man's phone through your app. Who has uploaded this video?" But Sergey says, "It cannot be carried out through that app. We will remain unable to reach that man." Igor had also disappointed from there. When he goes to the police station, then the same his partner inspector shows him a video of journalist there. The video which had been uploaded recently about plague doctor. This girl was the same who had stolen the details about the plague doctor from Igor's house. Igor was losing his temper, watching this. He warns her, going to that girl's house. "Look, never commit such blunder again. My job may be lost because of your this action." But that girl, Yulia, starts laughing and not a single Igor's word affects her. Igor was enraged and he puts her laptop in the water. Plague doctor was doing his job there. He burns one more wealthiest family. Social media was stuffed with plague doctor news. Aristocratic people had panicked while poor people were speaking in his favor. Sergey tries to stop his friend again while forbidding him. He also threatens him of police, but his friend says, "Police will also arrest you with me if you go to police station. Because you know from the very beginning that I am responsible behind all these murders. In spite of this, you kept quiet. So you were equally responsible." Igor's friend comes to him and tells, the next target of plague doctor will be casino, where the aristocratic people will come. Igor takes his friend's words important. He takes money from his friend. And he goes to casino while disguising an aristocratic man. The same girl, Yulia, had also come there. They both begin to wait plague doctor there. But it happens there as plague doctor does not come there, all poor people attack there. And chaos is created in casino. Sergey had also come to casino. He was forbidding all people, but no one concentrates his words. He starts fighting with all there. Yulia was recording everything there. The same inspector had come in that casino who had been replaced with Igor. He handles all the situation, coming there. Now, Yulia, who had recorded everything there, she goes to Igor, and asks him to say about these all incidents. Igor misbehaves with her there and also damages her mobile phone. Igor had been dismissed from his job because everyone had known about this, that he is investigating this case according to his own way. At this time, he places all money of bet on the table of that inspector, whom he used to call his friend so he may feel little embarrassment, who had revealed everything about Igor. On the other hand, Colonel says to Igor, "You need friends in your life and you will have to make your friends." so you may trust them. Igor agrees with Colonel. He went to Yulia and asks apology from her, holding the new cell phone. Igor goes to that orphanage teacher on the next day, so he may investigate about the brother of that dead girl. He goes into his room because he had suspicion as this boy had any connection with this case. When he was moving into that boy's room, then he casts a glance on a display board. He finds some photos of Sergei there. Orphanage teacher also shows him his drawing book. She tells that Sergei's best friend had joined the army, where he had also died. Moreover, Igor also discovers some sketches of Plague Doctor in that drawing book. Igor had become sure after his investigation that Sergei is responsible behind this. He visits him to make it sure. Sergei says after hearing this, his friend is responsible of all these matters. Then his friend also arrives there. At this time, Sergei's friend was only becoming visible only before him. He shows him his file saying, "Your friend had died last year. You cannot befool me." Sergei was still looking at his friend. He was also feeling so scary. When Igor looks back after turning, Sergei takes the benefit of this and makes him unconscious while hitting something on his head. Then climax arises in the movie. It is known here that Sergei's friend had died, and Plague Doctor is no one else but Sergei. He had become orphan after the death of his parents. All afflictions that he faced in his life, he had started to suffer split personality disorder. He pretends that all wrongdoing are being committed by his friend. He put all blames on his friend and he pretended himself a virtuous and gentleman. Now, Igor had known about Sergei, so his real personality had appeared before him. Now, Sergei makes Igor put on the costume and mask of Plague Doctor according to his plan. He makes him unconscious and he himself attacks the owner of casino. Police had approached there when Igor restores his senses. Police were attempting to seize him. He escapes from there. Now, Igor had been captured now. He tells police officer there, "I am not Plague Doctor but Sergei." How did that police officer believe him? He had disliking for Igor from the very beginning. Sergei had hidden many his proofs in Igor's house. Police also discover many evidences from his house. They had believed on this now that Igor is actually a Plague Doctor. Yulia comes to Igor as lawyer so she may support him. Igor also humiliates her at this time again and gets her out. Because he never wanted to take help of anyone. Igor's friend who was inspector, he was feeling ill for this. He explains to everyone, Igor is guiltless. But no one was trusting him. Now he himself helps Igor, now to release him from the prison. Yulia was already there in her car. She takes both of them from here. Igor tells both of them that Plague Doctor is not anyone but Sergei. He forbids them to take more help and he himself goes to Sergei. Sergei was in the costume of Plague Doctor. He says, "Do anything but you cannot stop me." A great fight is held between them. Igor throws his device far which releases fire. Then he makes a video viral in which he had exploded the police station. And he instructs rest of the people to come on the road. "I need their help." Igor had astonished on this action. Sergei throws a device and this place is also exploded. Contrarily, people begin to create havoc in the city as being trapped in the words of Plague Doctor. Bloodshed starts everywhere. The fight breaks out between Igor and Sergei. Then, Yulia and her friend Inspector had approached her to help him. But he also forbids them at this time and asks them to secure their lives. Igor had gripped Sergei after a long fight. Army officers also approach in the city and the circumstances had recovered. Sergei had confessed that he is a Plague Doctor. Yulia records his statement when he was confessing this. Police appear there when they all three were carrying him to the police. They arrest Sergei. Igor was so excited, seeing Colonel alive. When new police officer begins to say something, then Colonel punches him, breaking the ice. He loses his senses. Peace had spread everywhere in the city. It is broadcast in the news that Plague Doctor was wicked. No one may take any wrongdoing now. Igor is shown, who was at a serenity place with his friend, Yulia, and Inspector. Sergei is shown in psychiatric hospital where his evil side was saying to him that, "We will meet again." In the next scene, that friend who was died in army, the shocking fact was this as he was also alive. He was watching the video of Sergei sitting in his camp. Thanks for watching.